What is up, YouTube? This is Prince Pyramid back at it for another episode of Call of the Wild University. So you see the fallow here, we already got a guide for them. And you see the red deer, we got a guide for him. But now we got some fabled pheasant in the lodge, so we need to make a guide for them. So this Morganite actually came from a crew grind. So if you haven't seen that, go over to Old Man Rum's channel. There's at least 30 hours worth of pheasant killing. You'll really figure out how to get it done. All right, so let's go over here. And this is from my solo grind, and that's what I want to get into today to try to help you guys put a G1 pheasant in your lodge as well. So let's head over to Pheasant Park and we'll get into it. Okay, the first thing I think we should cover is tent placement and zones. So this is a little bit different than we had to do for the fallow and the red deer because they had drink times and their zones were kind of consistent. When it comes to pheasants, a little bit wishy-washy after doing two grinds. Everybody's map is going to be different, but there are some places that are consistent, like where I've just showed you guys on the map. This place up north usually has maybe 2 to 3 pheasant zones up here, and it's really nice because it's wide open. So yep, we got one here already. So I'm gonna use the 300 because I don't have my normal pheasant loadout, and try to take this guy. It really doesn't matter, to be honest with you, because you're gonna shoot them grounded. So whatever rifle you feel comfortable taking them with, that's what you should go with. I would suggest not using the 22 because if you're shooting them grounded, it really doesn't matter. And these other rifles will let you cover more zone from your tripod. Unless you're like me and fire from not within the tripod that time. But it really doesn't matter. This zone is perfect. This tripod also covers like 3 pheasant zones. It's nuts. So let's go pick this guy up. And then a little bit further, right about where that tree line is in the very back of the zone, that's actually where I shot the G1 Ruby. And that's what I want to show you guys after this. I'm going to show you actually the hunt itself and try to show you guys what I like to do if it is a trophy. I don't use the dogs. I like to run up and kick them and get them to fly up. So we'll see that. It's also important to keep in mind that when you're shooting them grounded, you kind of get used to it. And so maybe for the trophies, you definitely want to shoot them in the air, obviously. So this is a good zone up north like I talked about. There's 3 zones here. These zones close to the starting outpost are also great. This little field here's good. All in here is a little bit thicker, but there are pheasants. And you're going to need to cover that. The beach and this whole area where you see tents is all going to have pheasants. You just want to avoid these marshy areas. I don't think there's any pheasants in there. And everybody's guides are different, but I haven't seen anyone say that that's a place you should look for pheasants. But yeah, that's kind of where you want to put your tents and stuff. And tripods, make sure you put tons of tripods in. But let's get over to the G1. Yeah, right. See what I'm saying? In this back part of the field, I'll show you guys exactly where he's at. Right. It's 1, 2. There he is. So I'm going to show you guys how to kick him up. And if you want to use a dog, sometimes it's easier. For the Morganite on the crew grind, we definitely had to use the dog because he was in a pretty bad spot and the wind was awful. And I just, it was late. I definitely was not performing that great that night, but we eventually got him by flushing him with the dog. But this is the Ruby. From a distance, guys, because he had that red, I kind of thought I had a second Morganite, but there's just too much white there. So I kind of learned pretty quick that it probably wasn't the Morganite. I thought 2 Morganites was going to be sick, but I wanted something different too. Also, if you're doing this on a single player grind, like on your own personal map, a lot of times you kind of get lulled to sleep when you're seeing thousands of the same bird, right? The good thing for this is there's an audio cue when you spot the great one pheasant. So the guy who runs Pheasant Park will remark as soon as you're spotting and scanning. Once it hits 10 fabled, he'll say that's the rowdy bird or something that ruined his car, like ran into his car. So that way you know if you're just kind of getting tired, like you're going to have the chance to be alert for the great one, I guess is a great way to say it. I really appreciate the fact that they put in the audio cue, because I was killing pheasants so fast and I actually spotted him, didn't realize it was a 10 fabled, and then all of a sudden when he started talking, I was like, well, did I finish a mission or something? Like, why is the NPC talking? And he's talking to let you know, hey, don't shoot this thing grounded. We got him calling over there too. This is such a good zone. This was a pretty active zone for at least both the grinds I've been involved in. And it's probably going to work for you too. Even if it's not 3 zones, maybe it's only 2, but they're so open that it's really nice to hit these zones when you get the chance. All right, let's start. And when it comes to this guy, I definitely am going to take my time, but the important thing is eventually you'll get so many rares and diamonds on this grind if you do it enough that you probably won't have too much worry, so you'll be able to flush them out. But obviously for great ones, it's a little different. Because I like to really start crouching like this, usually about at 150 meters. But because this is a great one, I definitely took my time a little bit more. And it's coming off the heels of just that Morganite on the crew grind, which was an absolute nightmare. I kept spooking that thing, man. I could not get... The first time I actually had a pretty good shot, and he kind of flies toward that tree line, which made him impossible to see. But the dog definitely helped when it came to that one. The dog flushed him like right over my head. Let's keep getting closer. The other thing I'll say, guys, is if you're going to go for this grind, make sure you've leveled up your shotguns and make sure you've leveled up your particularly recoil control. I know mine was maxed, and it's still, when you're looking down the shotgun scope at some of these pheasants when they're in the air, they seem so much further away than they actually are. And for me, I would shoot one and I'm like, that had to be like, 190 to 100 meters away. Bring it up and I'm actually like right at like 30, 40, they seem so far away in that scope. This guy though, because the wind's perfect, this is such a good zone. Definitely if you're setting up your pheasant grind, check these northern fields up here with the windmills, because they're going to be packed with pheasants. And the wind doesn't kill you, and it's wide open, so you can just keep shooting them from those tripods and just keep on moving on. Oh yeah, and this thing happened too. As soon as I started getting close, the Tundra Bean Goose start coming in and absolutely making this more of a chore than it has to be. And where is he at? You definitely start getting spooked, because sometimes they don't always let you know when they're fleeing either. That part really sucks. But I would say of all the grinds I've done so far, I obviously have 3 species and great ones and 5 total great ones. But this grind is one of the most fun I've ever done, just because Pheasant will stand there and let you shoot them for days. All right, there's our guy. Switch to the Cacciatore. And let's flush this bastard out. Get up, get up, get up, get up. There he goes. Perfect. And I'm not even going to shoot him again, because we definitely got him. That was something, guys. You're eventually... If you're bad about this like me, when it comes to shooting things out of the air, I am so trigger happy. Eventually you'll get enough rares and diamonds to where you get a lot more, you don't really care. But when it comes to great ones and stuff, you're like, I just want to get out of the air. And you'll start opening fire. Don't do that. And I'm partially talking to you guys, and I'm partially talking to myself, because I'm bad about doing that too. But it's on your map. It's fine. You can just reset time if you need to, till you get the absolute perfect moment. And this right here is why I would also recommend dogs. I don't have a dog leveled up, but see, now I have to sit here and find this freaking pheasant, which with a dog would have been a hell of a lot easier, but you know, whatever. It didn't do it for the first one. I didn't do it for the second one. All right, here it is, guys. G1 pheasant number 2, the fabled ruby, with the music playing. God, it looks so good. It looks so good. The Morganite is probably still my favorite, just because the Morganite went for so long. That grind was absolutely, I mean, 3,000-4,000 kills. But this guy, you saw him in the lodge, the way that the feathers kind of come off his legs a little bit. Like, that looks so good. They are definitely my 2 favorites. I mean, they're the ones I got, so you know. I mean, it's probably not super fair to say, but yeah, that looks so good, man. So let's head back to the lodge, and I'll show you guys some of the stuff we picked up on the way. But before I do that, let me open up the case. I forgot. You guys probably saw what I was using. I already mentioned it, but when it comes to the long range, you're going to shoot them grounded anyways, so don't use the 22. Use something that can go up to 300 yards, because your tripod will cover it. So what I like to use is the 223. There we go. Ambusher or Midnight really doesn't matter. They will cover way more ground than the 22, so that's definitely the move. And then, obviously, the Cacciatore 12 gauge. Anything that requires a shotgun, I'm always going to tell you guys to use the Cacciatore 12 gauge with birdshot. It's the in-game shotgun for a reason. So now that we've covered that, I'm going to head back over to the lodge, and we'll show you some of the rares and diamonds I got along the way for these grinds. All right, guys, so like I said, we are going to cover, we have the Morganite in here. We have the Ruby in here. And there's 8 total plumage types. So Morganite, Ruby, Emerald, Obsidian, Garnet, Pearl, Sapphire, and I'm missing one. Citrine. And the citrine is kind of this really bright colored pheasant. It's a really good looking pheasant too. But see how what I'm saying? How kind of the plumage, the feathers on his feet kind of ploop out at the end like it's like bell bottoms or something. But he was such a pretty bird. He wasn't. It's weird. I think my second fallow probably looked better to me than my first fallow, because it feels like everybody gets the mocha with the spoon rack. So getting the bladed hooded, I think that's my favorite. But the first great one is always my favorite, the red deer. And I think the first pheasant I got, because God, that was such a grind, and we finally got it, and it was a community thing, so I think it wins out. But this is such a good looking bird too, and if you're a madman, you can sit there and go for all eight plumage types, and if you do, good for you. I think I'm probably moving on to something else. Almost skipped it. Got to show respect every time we walk by. The only super rare I've ever got, the albino harlequin. Right, so let's take a look. So over here we got our leucistic, our melanistic, and then this third spot is where I plan to put an albino whenever I finally get it. Got a couple diamond pheasants that we got from the grind. There's also 2 female melanistics and melanistic and leucistic in another room. That was a diamond pheasant back there, and I'm missing one. Where the hell is he? I thought he was there. He's not gonna be in here. He must be in this other room, this side room. Yeah, I'll show you guys in a second. But yeah, this has been the pheasant grind, guys. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys put one in your lodge too. But I think we'll wrap it up here. Lots of trophies, rares, and 2 G1s. So until next time, guys, I've been Prince Pyramid, and everybody have a good one.